Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason. We're in the kitchen today, and Angela Kay's got a great one lined up for you. She's been dreaming this stuff out, and I'm quite impressed with just the idea of this. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her tell you how to make these delicious sounding cherry cream cheese sweet rolls.
Now first we are going to start by making our dough, and I'm taking some help from the KitchenAid today. If you do not have a KitchenAid, I will give instructions on how to do it without one. In this bowl we have 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and then we have 1/4 cup of just-in-case flour, just in case you need it. And we have 1/4 cup of sugar right here in the middle. The placement is very important. 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 2 1/2 teaspoons of rapid rise yeast, or instant yeast. I prefer to call it instant yeast. I use SAF. The reason they're placed like that, if you've watched my bread making videos before, everybody loves sugar, but salt and yeast can't stand the sight of each other. So sugar can touch both of them, but salt can't touch yeast right now. So you have to work the salt in, work the yeast in, and then they're covered and they're disguised, so they can't see each other now. And as long as they're covered like that, they're fine when you mix them together. Now, to this, we are going to add 1 cup of milk and 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter that you have heated to between 110 and 115. I do 115 because I keep my yeast frozen. If you do not keep your yeast frozen, then you may want to do 110.
And the point is, the yeast is frozen, so it's dead, right? Dead asleep.
It's asleep. It's asleep.
Not dead. It's asleep.
It's asleep.
So you gotta wake it up.
So you gotta wake it up. Yeast is always asleep. Even instant yeast is asleep. You've got to have warmth to wake it up. It takes a lot more to wake it up if it's froze. So now I'm going to turn on my KitchenAid. If you're not using a KitchenAid, you just go ahead and stir this by hand. And you start mixing all your ingredients together. What you're looking for is for it to clean the bowl. If it doesn't clean the bowl and it's too sticky, then you need to add some of that just-in-case flour. This looks like it's going to do really well because the amount of dry that is still in the bowl, it looks like it may do really well at just the 3 1/4. It depends on how dry your house is, how dry the area is outside. Depends on a lot of factors. Right now, we are in a polar vortex. The air is very dry outside. The heat's been on a lot, so the air is very dry in here. So it takes less flour. Because this is going to be perfect. This is going to be absolutely perfect. See? Your bowl is cleaned. And when you touch the dough, it's not sticking on your fingers. See? So that dough is perfect. So you're not going to need the just-in-case flour. So now, if you're doing this by hand, you will want to knead it for 5 minutes. If you're doing it in a KitchenAid, you will turn it on about medium speed, and you will knead it for 5 minutes in your KitchenAid. Okay, this beautiful, very smooth dough is done kneading. Now, I've put it out on a very clean countertop, and I'm going to give it a couple of hand kneads just to bring it into a nice ball. It's very soft. It's a very, very soft dough. So now we'll bring it up into a ball. Now this is only you're just gonna make this rest. You're just gonna let it rest for 10 minutes. And all you're doing by letting it rest, because see, right now when you poke it, it springs right back because that gluten is so tight. To make it easier to work with, you're letting that gluten just relax for about 10 minutes so that it'll make it easier to work with. Now while that is resting, we will make our cream cheese filling, which is 1 8-ounce brick of cream cheese that is softened, and 1/3 cup of sugar. And we are going to beat those together until they are nice and creamy. To that, we are adding 1 large egg.
1 beautiful large egg.
Yes, this is a Sunnam egg, and Sunnam is amazing.
If you watch our video, she's a really blue one with the small comb.
Yes, and she is amazing.
Yep, good chicken.
Now to that, we are also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla.
Or a cup of vanilla, whichever you prefer.
That's not a cup. That is a teaspoon. I was being very...
I'm just playing with you now.
And this may be a little controversial to some people.
It's not controversial.
Some people hate almond extract.
If you hate it, don't use it.
But almond extract goes really well with cherries.
Yep.
So I'm doing 3/4 of a teaspoon of almond extract. You will always see me measure almond extract.
Because it's tough.
It's extremely strong, and it can kill a dish if you put too much.
Don't use too much.
But if you don't like almond extract, add a little extra vanilla.
Yeah.
Now, blend it until it's nice and smooth. Now, our filling is our cream cheese filling is done. And yours may not be that yellow.
Yeah.
Ours is that yellow because Sunam's extremely rich yolks.
Yep.
So now our dough is also rested and ready to go. Okay, our beautiful dough is done and ready. Usually by the time you get the filling done, everything ready for the filling and it done, usually you're ready to go. And we may not even have to put any flour out because this dough is so smooth that you may not even need any flour out there. So you can either push it out with your hands, or you can use a rolling pin. It depends on how stiff your dough is. My dough is a little bit stiff, so I'm gonna use a rolling pin. And you wanna roll it into a rectangle. And the problem with me is when I'm trying to roll a circle, I can't roll a circle, I roll a rectangle. But when I'm trying to roll a rectangle, I roll a perfect circle. So,
pretty solid move.
So I'm just gonna have to start playing mind games with myself and telling myself, okay, I'm rolling this into a rectangle, and then I'll be able to roll a circle.
What you were saying though about flour, and sometimes the flour, if the dough is real sticky or not as soft, you might need to put flour on your surface to keep it from sticking to the surface.
Yeah.
But this one's not necessary.
Yeah, it's a very smooth dough. It's not acting like it's going to need anything. Partially because all that butter.
Yeah.
The butter makes it do that a lot. It will keep it from needing to have flour, and it will keep it nice and smooth like this.
Okay.
And as you can see, it was actually even with as tight as the gluten still is in it, it still rolled out pretty darn easy.
So this is really nice dough.
It still rolled out pretty darn easy. And because of the 1/4 of a cup of sugar, it's going to be a little sweeter of a dough. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little sweeter. You want a sweet dough for this.
Yeah, it's
going to be a sweet, buttery dough.
Yep.
So once you've got it about like that, I know some of you are going to want measurements.
Shoulder width apart.
What would you say, Jason? That's probably about...
It's about 11 by 8, probably, or...
I think it's about 13 or 14 by 8.
Maybe.
Because that's
10.
longer than a ruler.
Yeah. About 10 probably, actually.
Yeah.
About 10.
So it's probably about 14 by 10.
Yeah, you're close.
So now we are going to put our first layer of our filling on, which is cherry preserves. This is the brand I'm using. I'm choosing to use this brand because it's not loaded with sugar.
Yeah.
It more relies on the sweetness of the fruit instead of sugar.
Yeah.
So it's a little more natural. But you can use whatever brand of cherry preserves that you like. And this looks glorious.
It does.
Now you want to leave an end up here that has none on it. You want to leave a little so that you can seal it. If you get it too close to that edge, you're not going to be able to seal it, because when you start rolling it, it's going to start ooching out. Yes, I said ooching. That's my word. So
you resist the urge to just overload it with cherries.
Yes,
right?
resist the urge.
Because there will be a thing with, oh, more cherries the better, and you may be right, but you're also going to make an absolute mess out of it.
Yes, because it's going to come ooching out like you wouldn't believe.
Yep. So leave a space down here, but not on the top end.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And spread it out as evenly as you can. And like Jason said, do not overload it. This is a 13-ounce jar. I used about 3/4 of the jar.
Yeah, pretty close.
So now I'm going to start putting on my cream cheese mixture.
Much of the cherries first and not the cream cheese.
Because the cream cheese is actually, it's going to be easier to spread the cream cheese mixture over the cherries than vice versa.
Really?
Because the cherries would actually bring up the cream cheese mixture a whole lot. Because you saw those whole pieces of cherry, they're just going to make it all come up.
Okay.
So you want to dollop it on in little dollops and push it out. Now some of it's going to mix. It's fine.
It's going to bake together anyways.
You actually kind of want it to mix together just a little bit.
I see.
Now you're going to spread it all out. I'm not going to make you watch me do this whole thing.
Just spread it out.
Just dollop it on, spread it out in dollops. Okay, now it's all spread out. Now we're going to start from the end where you went almost all the way to the end. And we're going to start rolling. You're going to start working across like a typewriter, like you would cinnamon rolls. But you're going to be a little more generous with it, with folding it over. That way it doesn't all push.
It's going to be like a looser roll.
Yes. Because otherwise it's all going to push.
It's going to push anyways a little bit.
Yes, it's going to make a little bit of a mess.
It'll be fine. Best just clean up.
Yep. You're not going to as much as I've told you with cinnamon rolls, where you're going to kind of pull back. You're not going to do that as much because that'll make it all ooch out.
Yep.
Which is going to ooch out some anyways.
It's going to. It's okay.
Don't worry about it.
Let's just clean up.
Now, as you can see, it did ooch out.
Yep. It's
fine. Now we're going to start cutting them. I'm using a serrated knife. Serrated means it has the jagged edges. This is a bread knife because you want to be able to saw. You don't want to go straight down. You're just going to mash them. So you want to be able to gently saw. I'm going to start in the middle and start sawing down through. And it's going to push some out. It's fine. Now each half you want to cut into 6. So I'm going to cut each half into half. And each of these pieces into 3. Okay, this is our rolls. Now we're going to put them in the pan. You want to line them all up, put all 12 of them in the pan. They'll have space because they need to rise. Now these are ready to rise. You want to put them in a warm place away from drafts. You want to cover them with plastic wrap before you put them in there. They will rise for about 40 minutes. Okay, in case I didn't tell you, the 13x9 was sprayed with cooking spray because otherwise they're going to stick down really hard.
Stick. Yeah.
I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. And these, as you can tell, they have pretty much doubled in size because there was a lot of space between each one. They have pretty much doubled in size. So now I'm going to put them into a 350 degree preheated oven until they are nice and golden brown and no longer doughy. Okay, these are out of the oven.
Beautiful too.
They baked for about 25 to 30 minutes. They smell really good. And as you can see, the messiness of them kind of cleans up as they rise and bake.
Still gonna be probably eating with a fork, but
yeah, but sweet rolls you usually do eat with a fork. Where cinnamon rolls you can sometimes pick up. Yeah. Sweet rolls generally has a jammy type filling or something like that or a sticky top or something like that you generally want to eat with a fork. So now Jason's going to taste them for you.
And actually, maybe you can pick them up and eat them. I'll tell you what, really stable, look really good. I'm excited about them a lot. Angela, okay? Look at this, beautiful. Beautiful. I'm gonna get another bite here in the middle so I can get a really great bite of it. Wow. She's a genius. Amazing. Simply amazing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Gotta try these out. So thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason, the smart one. Her name is Angela Kay. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.